Hello, everyone. My name is Giovanna Zandomeneghi. This is my case presentation number 2 for SPC 683-803. So a little recap from this client is a little boy. He's 8 years old. He was diagnosed with F84, autism spectrum disorder associated with language impairment with intellectual impairment, and F90.2, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This client engage presents 6 behaviors. The first one is bolting, defined as running away to unsupervised areas and or to other rooms or areas without the adult's permission. Tantrums, any instance of crying with or without tears, yelling, laying on the floor, and hitting objects such as the table or the wall. Throwing objects, grabbing an object with hands and throwing it against the floor or wall. Echolalia, repeating sounds or words that he hears from others and using them in any context. Inappropriate social interactions like failing to recognize social cues or engaging in behaviors that make others uncomfortable. This includes invading personal space and initiating physical contact, such as hugging and kissing without others' consent. And last but not least, and most likely the most important for this presentation, task refusal. So task refusal is defined as physically and verbally refusing to follow direct instructions regarding his daily routine, including refusal to pick up his toys after playing, refusal to do homework, and or refusal to take a shower. Also includes any responses that does not match the given instruction. The baseline collected for task refusal was 90% of opportunities. The intensity was considered moderate, and it serves escape function as 66% and attention as 33%. The function of social reinforcers was not observed for this behavior. So here we can clearly see that the interventions will most likely be focused on the function of escaping. So I chose to focus on task refusal for this project because it's a behavior that the client frequently engages in. The client's parents have expressed concern and confusion over how to handle this issue, and the client tends to run away once he engages in task refusal, leading him to escaping the activity altogether. I have observed that this behavior brings a significant challenge for many adults and caregivers due to its high frequency. Various interventions can address task refusal, but they are often underutilized or implemented in the wrong way, which can delay the client's progress. So here in this slide, we can see that during the baseline, as I mentioned before, that was collected on November 20, 21st, and 24th, the client engaged in the behavior in 90% of observed opportunities. Despite this high frequency, he has shown in progress by mastering 2 STOs and is currently working on the third one. The client mastered the first STO in nearly 3 months and the second one in about 2 months, and has been working on the third one since April 30th. While it took us a slightly longer time to achieve these goals, the client is still demonstrating improvement, but there is still room for growth. So that's why I want to bring new interventions that can be very effective for this client. So the interventions that we have been using are Premack principle and behavior momentum. So Premack principle involve having the client engage in high probability behavior, contingent upon completing programming, chores, or homework, less probable behavior. Restricting the high probability activity to below baseline rates will increase its reinforcing efficacy. To ensure that the high probability activity will function as a reinforcer, this activity will only be available contingent upon the completion of the low probability activity. So an example would be remind the client of more enjoyable activities that will occur following completion of the task demand using if-then statements. Behavior momentum is used to increase the probability that the client will comply with the requests by initially presenting easier tasks that they typically complete, Once the client complies with the received reinforcement, introduce a last preferred task. This strategy creates a momentum of compliance, keeping the client motivated and more likely to follow instructions, even those that are challenging or disliked. An example of it would be to let the client um, lead an activity, and such as organizing items with different textures, rubber balls, and stuffed animals. During this activity, introduce requests like take this, give me that one, and come here, thank you, and making the experience both enjoyable and learning opportunity for them. So two studies that I found that use these interventions. The first one is a familiarization protocol facilities to participation of children with ASD in electrophysiological research. So here the Premack principle was utilized alongside other tools such as social narratives, visual sketches, and role playing and modeling. And results showed that the use of interventions increased participants' understanding and agency while reducing anxiety. The second study um, was conducted across 5 experiments. This high probability command sequence led to a momentum of compliant responding that persisted when a low probability request was given. The results indicated that the high probability command sequence increased compliance, decreased compliance latency, and reduced task duration. So the two interventions I would like to include for this client to work on task refusal are token economy and escape extinction. So for token economy, the client earns tokens for completing tasks or demonstrating desired behaviors. These tokens act as a form of currency that can be exchanged for preferred items or activities such as toys, extra playtime, or special privileges. The system is designed to reinforce positive behaviors by providing a tangible and immediate reward system. An example would be instead of directly withholding access to enjoyable activities until a task is completed, use tokens as an intermediate step. For instance, the client earns a token each time they complete a specific task or follow a directive. Once they accumulate a certain number of tokens, like 5 stars, they can trade them in for a preferred activity or item, making the reward process more structured and motivating. The second one, escape extinction. For any behavior reinforced by escape from demands, extinction will be utilized to eliminate escape following the occurrence of the maladaptive behavior. The client will be given a direction to complete a task, and if these behaviors occur, physically guidance, such as gently placing a hand on their back or is using hand over hand assistance, will be used to prevent the client from escaping the demand or task. So verbal praise will be provided as the client completes each step of the task. Example, which the client is told to color a book and responds by saying no and crossing his arms, the ABT will gently place their hands over hands and guide them to hold a pencil and assist coloring with the picture. Two studies used for each one of these interventions. The first one is using a token economy to treat escaping maintaining problem behavior without extinction. This one is it's funny because it's refusing to use extinction, which is the intervention that I wanted to use, but it uses token economy. So it explored the alternative methods for treating escape maintaining problem behavior in children with ASD without using extinction. Instead of extinction, the researchers implemented a token economy system involving a 30 seconds break for problem behaviors and tokens for compliance. The results show significant improvement in compliance and reduction in problem behavior across the participants. The second one called escape as reinforcement and escape extension in the treatment of feeding problems. This study worked on the treatment for food refusal in children and reducing inappropriate behavior associated with feeding problems using escape extinction. The results revealed that escape extinction alone was successful in producing significant improvements in mouth clean behavior and reductions in inappropriate behavior across participants. These findings highlight the efficacy of escape extinction as an intervention strategy for addressing food or refusal in children. So with this presentation, I believe that the four interventions identified are the most useful and effective for addressing the client's task refusal behavior. Integrating token economy and escape extinction with the other interventions that are already being used might faster the client's improvement. These strategies not only help in reducing task refusal, but also enhance the client's daily living skills. Over time, this approach will better provide the clients to handle various tasks, contributing to his overall success in daily life and future challenges. Are the references for of the studies that I found in order to um, help with interventions that I believe to be helpful for this client. And I hope you enjoyed watching this presentation. Thank you very much.